Order. Welcome to the Tuesday, September 1st City Council meeting. I hereby call the meeting to order. Members of the public may attend the City Council meeting in person or may watch or listen remotely by viewing the meeting on Channel 8, WCTV, and at the city's website at wayzata.org/WCTV. Public comment during the public forum and or public hearing portions of the meetings may be provided in person, at the meeting, in advance, or by logging into the Teams call and raising your hand during the public hearing. When your name is called in the meeting, you will be seen and heard in our council chambers and the cable channel. You will be asked to unmute and turn your camera on and begin your comment. All public comments should include your first name and the group that you're representing. Next on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I would ask you to stand if you are able and follow along. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next is our agenda is roll call. Let the record reflect that all council members are present this evening. I have a couple of notices to read about a previous closed meeting on August 18th, which was our last council meeting, at approximately 7:45 p.m. following the regular scheduled city council meeting. A closed meeting of the Wayzata Council was held pursuant to Minnesota Statute Section 13D-05, Subdivision 3B, the attorney-client privilege exemption to the open meeting law. This meeting was closed to permit the council to meet with its attorneys to review and candidly and openly discuss absolutely confidential and privileged matters relating to the following litigation: Lake West Development LLC, 190 Gleason Lake Road and 121 Glee Haven Road, plaintiff versus City of Wayzata defendant, and DLC 2020 Revocable Trust, 547 Harrington Road, plaintiff versus City of Wayzata, Kyle Hunt and Partners, Artesian Homes, Lori S. Hedrick, Karen S. Webster, and Craig B. Swanson, defendants. Next is Alden C. Adams, 225 Manitoba Avenue, LLC, Olivia A. Adams, Wayzata Cottage, LLC, and Robert C. Fisher, trustee of Robert C. Fisher Trust, July 8th, 2016, plaintiffs. Petitioners versus the City of Wayzata defendant. And lastly, two more, Jeffrey Lee Homers. This is the second joined litigant to that previous matter. Jeffrey Lee Homers, 306 Berry Avenue North, LLC, Scott Trips, 1020 Lake Street East, LLC, Anna Oskanskavaya and Yevgeny Organovich, plaintiffs. Petitioners versus the City of Wayzata defendant. And lastly, the last matter, Lake West Development LLC, 200 Lake Street East, LLC, and Kurt Fretham, plaintiff versus City of Wayzata defendant. That was a lot. So that happened on August 18th. Earlier this evening, we had a workshop amongst the council to discuss the following topics: discussion of the Wayzata development process, discussion of future TIF opportunities and process, and discussions of the 2027 preliminary general fund budget and property tax levy, and then affirmed our future workshop topics. So with that, next I would need a motion to approve tonight's agenda. Would anyone like to make that motion to approve as presented or make any changes?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as published.
Thank you. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
That passes. Next is our public forum. And so we do have one item, I believe, in person that's going to be, is there anyone on Teams for the public forum?
Mr. Mayor, there's not.
Okay, so if anyone else wants to fill out a form, we only have one here. Welcome, Ms. Sargent. If you'd approach the dais and state your name and who you represent, and then the public forum items you'd like to bring to our attention. And thank you for being here. Oh, we just needed to turn on the mic. Hold on, we'll get it for you. 1 second. Just turn it on to make it go green. Thanks for your patience.
Yeah, okay.
There you go.
My name's Jenny Sargent. I only represent myself. So my first question is, I'm just trying to understand more about flock camera usage in Wayzata. It's just, I've become more aware of it recently, and so I'm just wondering what you can provide regarding how the city uses the cameras. I did see that it says on the website that we do, I think, have 9 in Wayzata, and so I'm just wondering, off the top of the bat, if you guys know if you do either, I guess there's 3 levels. You can do local, you can do state, or you can do nationwide. And so I'm wondering which type of system we've signed up for and agreed to be a part of. I'm wondering what kind of oversight the police department has to make sure that people are not using it irresponsibly, because it does sound like there's not really very stringent oversight built into their system, and that Flock, I know there's other companies, but they're the largest one, kind of puts the onus on the users to make sure that they're using it appropriately, and there have been cases documented where it hasn't been. I'm not saying that's happening in Wayzata, but I'm just trying to understand where Wayzata stands on the matter, how long the contract is, and kind of what was the due diligence that was done before deciding to install them in Wayzata.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. Do you want to just bring up both your issues,
Sure.
and then we'll try to address both of them for
Sure.
you and give you the
My
best
second
answer?
one, I've lived in Wayzata for 8 years, and usually every year when they have the Unite the Neighborhood Night, I bring it up and I email someone, and then I kind of am told it needs to wait or they'll deal with it, and then I realize the next year comes around, nothing's dealt with. So I was hoping by putting it into a public forum here that it might help make it more movement forward on it. So I live on Chicago Avenue North. So if you're heading west on Wayzata Boulevard, at that light that's at Wayzata Boulevard and Broadway, a lot of people take a right and cut the light when they want to get around that red light, either construction or lots of reasons people do it. And I've been told that the first step would be monitoring how many cars come around that neighborhood, and if it falls above or below a certain one would then indicate if speed bumps could be put in or something there. I've been told that the neighborhood has to have a certain amount of people buying into that desire, which from my neighbors that I talk to, there's the majority of them seem to at least be on board with researching it to see if it's something that the city would do. So I know last time when I asked, they told me that someone else was using whatever that whatever machines are used to monitor the traffic pattern was being used somewhere else, and that they would have to wait till after that was done for us to use it. But then I never hear back from somebody, and so I'm just hoping by presenting here that I'll actually get some movement forward on my request.
Yeah, thank you for both those topics. Let's tackle the second one first, because I think it's a little bit simpler way. I mean, so we certainly can get in touch with Ms. Sargent and provide her more concrete guidance on a process around speed bumps, right? Because we have a very prescribed way to initiate that request. So we can certainly give you that. Is there anything you'd like to add?
No, the only other follow-up that I'll have is I just want to make sure I get your contact info
Okay,
so I can
great.
follow up with
Can
you
give it to you.
directly. Yep.
So,
Can I stand up here still, or can I sit back down?
oh, no,
Would you prefer?
if you're more comfortable sitting down to hear the response, that's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever makes you more comfortable, Ms.
I'll sit
Sargent.
back down.
Okay, so flock cameras. Maybe, City Manager, you could, in addition to what Ms. Sargent's already noted about the disclosure on our city website, if you could maybe offer a little bit more general comments on flock, and then it's going to be on our workshop agenda in our next public meeting to review it. So go ahead. Ms. Yeager.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to tell you. We're actually, the City Council at the September 15th workshop's going to be discussing this more in depth, but if I can remember some of the questions that you asked off the top of my head, and Chief, if you have anything else that you want to chime in and add, I invite you to do that. You're more of an expert on flock cameras than I am. I believe that we signed our initial contract with Flock kind of on a pilot basis back in 2022, and that was funded by the Wayzata Crime Prevention Coalition. So they provided some of the startup money to test that camera program. So we've been using it since then. I believe we're awaiting an updated contract from Flock now, so we have not re-signed a new contract period. We're awaiting them to send us something else. At this point, you're absolutely correct that the Wayzata Police Department does monitor who has access. The only people who can access our cameras are agencies that we have specifically permitted to. So no one else can access our site and access our cameras. The retention period is governed by Flock, and once that retention period has passed, the data is gone. So I believe it's historically been at 30 days and is maybe in the process of changing to 7 days. So we've used that to deal with some issues we've had with vehicle noise. I know it's been used in some pretty serious other crimes, used to solve and document where people have been found. It's been used to track down stolen vehicles, things like that in the community. Any other questions that she brought up that I haven't answered
I
yet?
think what the cost per camera or what we budget for flock each year.
Yes, and I believe that cost, Jamie, is around 3,000 to 5,000 per camera. Yep, yep. And we have 9 currently. Who we share data with? Very, very good question. I'll let the chief respond.
We currently share with people in the state. We don't share nationally. And so part of the reason why we share statewide is because they have to follow the same data practices. State statute wise, so they're governed by the same data practices. So that's why we share statewide.
Do you guys have extra, like, metrics in place or standards just to control who's accessing, what they're accessing for? Or are you just using, from my understanding, there's pop-ups on Flock that you have to, like, agree to, but again, no one's, like, auditing that from it, what I understand. So I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I guess I don't really understand what your question is regarding pop-ups.
So I heard when you open Flock, I heard that, like, there are things that you, like, agree to, that you're following these parameters, or like you have a reason you're looking it up. But my question there's been people that have been using it that are in the police force. And so I guess instead of just thinking that everyone using it is using it for the right reason, what is Wayzata doing to make sure that it is in fact being used for?
Right, so we had to go through an independent auditing system. An independent auditor has to audit biannually, and we just finished that audit at the end of 2025. And so we passed the audit with flying colors, and that's been submitted to the Minnesota Data Practices Office, and we have received a letter back saying that we're in compliance.
So just want to reiterate a couple things that were said because it was off mic. Is so we are only sharing information with specified state agencies, nobody else, right?
Correct.
And I think I would encourage you, if you can, or certainly get the meeting notes from our next workshop. We're going to go over this in detail and go through the contract, go through the costs, go through all of our policies and procedures. And as you noted earlier, if anyone is interested in a solid overview of how we use Flock, it's all disclosed on our website as well. So I guess the headline is, at our next city council meeting in workshop, we're going to discuss it in detail, and I encourage you to come and also read the materials, or if you can't come, we have meeting notes and whatnot. So, yes. And obviously, if all the materials will be publicly available, so there'll be a lot of good information there, and I appreciate you bringing it up.
Mayor, can I?
Go ahead.
I feel like Ms. Sargent's going to get home and ask this question herself because it's the one that popped in my mind. Chief, when you said that we passed our audits with flying colors, does that mean we were auditing our lookups, or who was looking up our data?
Our lookups and how we were handling it.
So we haven't audited who's looking up our data.
Other agencies that have access to Flock that way have to have their own audit.
Okay.
So if we're in this, correct, yes. So for example, if a neighboring agency, the two neighboring agencies, Plymouth or Minnetonka, they have to have their own independent audit, and somebody independently has to evaluate whether they're using the system correctly.
Okay. Just thought maybe you went to that. Thank you.
Good. So thank you for bringing it up, and we'll have a lot more detail in that workshop for the public and for ourselves. So as the governing body. So thank you for that. Thank you for coming, and thank you for bringing those two issues to our attention. Okay, so next is nobody on Teams. Any new agenda items that anyone on council would like to discuss or bring up this evening? New agenda items, guys? No, hearing none. Next, we'll review the consent agenda. So the following items are on our consent agenda this evening: approval of the city council workshop and regular meeting minutes of July 21st, August 5th, and August 18th, 2026. Approval of our check register, approval of the settlement agreement and mutual release with HCM Architects, adoption of resolution 42-2026, approving the Hennepin County grant for Ballistic shield, approval of the first reading of Ordinance 863, amending Ordinance 703, and Ordinance implementing electric service franchise fees. Then the approval of professional service agreement with Mohagen Hansen for the Wayzata Bar and Grill Refresh Project. So I would need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, or if anyone would like to amend or pull any items for discussion, I would accept that as well.
I'll make that motion for you, Mr. Mayor.
To approve as is?
Oh, to approve as is,
Perfect.
yes.
Thank you for that motion. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
That passes. Next is our public hearing. We have no items on our public hearing tonight, and then we move on to new business. We have no new business items tonight. So we'll move on to our city manager's report. And following tonight's meeting, we are going to meet up with some of our fire personnel and do a push-in ceremony for our new ladder truck. So that will be a nice little ceremony for all of us this evening. But I know you have a couple other items that you'd like to bring to our attention, Ms. Yeager.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. So the first thing I want to bring up is that we are celebrating the 25th anniversary, recognizing the 25th anniversary of 9/11 next Friday. So I just want to highlight that there's a beautiful 9/11 memorial right on Lake Street, right at Lake Street and Broadway. So if you're thinking about that anniversary, that's a great place to go and recognize that day. Also, that same weekend, September 11th through 13th, is James J. Hill Days in town, the event thrown by our Chamber of Commerce. So just be aware, if it wasn't on your radar already, this annual event, there's going to be a carnival, food trucks, beer festival, street air market, a lot of activity in town, and that's next weekend, the September 11th through the 13th. Also coming up, the Fire Relief Association, the Wayzata Fire Relief Association is hosting the annual Fire Department Pancake Breakfast. That will be September 20th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the fire station. So if you need breakfast, stop by and get some pancakes and help support the fire department. And then the last thing I wanted to promote is that we are going to be having a local election in November for 2 city council seats. And I just want to promote that the League of Women Voters is hosting a candidate forum September 24th at 7 p.m. in this room. So if you're interested in hearing about local issues, that I want to make sure that the community knows that they can either come into the chambers and hear that live, or they will share the recording as well. That's what I have for
You
you.
had one question about,
Yeah, Aurora, what time is the ceremony at the 9/11 memorial?
I want to say it's at 7:30.
yeah,
AM?
so there'll be one in and around sunrise and sunset, and it's not really a formal ceremony other than the raising and lowering
Of the flag.
the
Yep.
flags.
Yep.
So,
Okay, thanks.
sunrise and sunset?
Great, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions of city manager for her report this evening? Any other items that any council members would like to bring up? Okay, hearing none, I would accept a motion to adjourn, and then we move on to our push-in ceremony for the ladder truck. So I'd accept a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you very much.